Sometimes the most talked about moments at high-profile events aren't the speeches, the awards, or even the headlines planned for the next day. Sometimes it's a few unexpected seconds that no one saw coming. And according to several guests who attended a private charity gathering last week, that's exactly what happened the moment Prince Harry stepped onto the stage. The room was elegant. The audience was influential. Cameras were quietly recording every second of the evening. Everything about the event looked carefully organized. Until one small moment changed the entire atmosphere. Because while Prince Harry was calmly delivering a speech to the audience, something unusual suddenly caught people's attention near the side of the stage. At first it was just a small movement. A few heads turned. Then more. And within seconds, nearly everyone in the room realized the same thing at the exact same time. Walking toward the stage, without an announcement, without a cue from the host, and without interrupting the program, was Meghan Markle. For most people watching, the next moment felt predictable. They assumed they knew the routine. But what happened next completely broke that pattern. Because instead of reacting the way people expected, Prince Harry did something that left the entire room unusually quiet. And those few silent seconds are now fueling one of the most debated celebrity moments of the week. So the real question is, was it simply an awkward misunderstanding on stage? Or did the audience witness a rare unscripted moment between one of the world's most watched couples? The moment that silence settled over the room, many guests didn't yet realize they had just witnessed the beginning of a moment that would soon spread across the internet like wildfire. Because events like this one are usually carefully choreographed. Every entrance planned, every speech timed, every movement on stage rehearsed long before the cameras start recording. Which is why what happened that night felt different. The event itself was a high-profile charity gathering attended by donors, media personalities, and influential figures. The type of evening where appearances matter and nothing is supposed to happen by accident. Standing at the center of it all was Prince Harry, speaking calmly into the microphone while the audience listened. For most of the speech, everything unfolded exactly the way people expected. Harry spoke about community programs, global initiatives, and the importance of charity work. His tone was relaxed, confident, and measured, the kind of delivery he's used at dozens of public events before. But the story of that night didn't start with the speech. In many ways, it started years earlier, with the complicated public journey of Harry and Meghan Markle. Ever since the couple stepped away from their official royal duties during the dramatic moment widely referred to as Megxit, their public appearances have been watched more closely than almost any other celebrity couple in the world. Every gesture becomes a headline. Every interaction becomes a theory. Supporters see a modern couple building a new path. Critics see tension, ambition, and endless controversy. And because of that attention, even the smallest stage moment can suddenly become global conversation. Over the past few years, frequent viewers of their public events began noticing what looked like a pattern. When Harry spoke at conferences or charity galas, Meghan would sometimes step forward at certain moments, standing beside him, joining the microphone, or briefly sharing the spotlight. To most audiences, it looked natural, a partnership, a coordinated public dynamic between two high-profile figures. But online observers began dissecting these moments with almost detective-like intensity. Some claimed Meghan often guided the flow of the stage. Others insisted the couple simply had an unspoken rhythm during events. Either way, people had grown used to seeing a predictable sequence whenever the two appeared together in public. Which is exactly why what happened that night instantly caught attention. Because halfway through Harry's speech, movement appeared near the side of the stage. At first, only a few people in the front rows noticed. One guest later wrote online that they thought someone from the staff was simply adjusting equipment. But then the figure stepped closer to the stage lights. And suddenly it became obvious. It was Meghan, walking toward the podium. No announcement. No signal from the host. No transition in the program, just a calm, confident walk straight toward Harry while he was still speaking. Several guests exchanged confused looks. One person seated near the front reportedly whispered, "Was she supposed to come up right now?" Another guest quietly replied, "I don't think so." Still, the audience assumed they knew what was about to happen. Because they had seen it before. Meghan would step closer. Harry would pause. The microphone would shift. Simple. But as Meghan reached him and gently placed her hand on the middle of his back, something strange happened. Harry didn't react. At least, not in the way people expected. According to two guests sitting just a few feet from the stage, Harry briefly tightened his grip around the microphone. His shoulders remained facing forward. His voice stayed steady, and he continued speaking as if nothing unusual had happened behind him. For a moment, The audience assumed he simply hadn't noticed. But Meghan remained there, still smiling, still waiting. Seconds passed. On a brightly lit stage under multiple cameras, those seconds felt much longer than they actually were. Someone near the middle of the room reportedly whispered, "Wait, did he just keep going?" Another voice quietly responded, "This wasn't supposed to happen." The room's atmosphere shifted instantly. What should have been a routine transition suddenly felt like an unscripted moment unfolding in real time. And then came the first twist that made the entire situation even stranger. Because according to a short video clip later shared online, someone sitting near the aisle had already started recording on their phone. The clip captured the exact moment Meghan's hand rested on Harry's back. It showed her waiting. It showed Harry continuing his speech. And in the background of that clip, you could faintly hear a voice whisper something that would later ignite thousands of comments online. Did he just ignore her? The strange moment on stage might have ended there, a few confusing seconds, a quiet step back, and the speech continuing like nothing happened. But that's not how stories like this unfold anymore. Because in today's world, every unusual moment has an audience far beyond the room where it happened. And within minutes of the event ending, those few seconds involving Prince Harry and Meghan Markle had already begun spreading online. At first it was just a short clip, 15 seconds, recorded from a shaky phone camera somewhere in the audience. But that clip captured exactly the moment people inside the room couldn't stop whispering about. Meghan walking toward the stage, her hand resting on Harry's back. The pause. And Harry continuing his speech without turning around. Within an hour, the video began appearing across multiple platforms, especially on X. And that's when the internet did what it does best. It started investigating everything. One viral post that quickly crossed 2 million views simply said, "Watch closely, this wasn't part of the program." Another user wrote, "That moment when she waits for the MIC and he just keeps talking, that silence says everything." Then came the slow-motion breakdowns. People zoomed into Meghan's expression. They analyzed Harry's grip on the microphone. They replayed the exact second she placed her hand on his back. And suddenly, what had looked like a small awkward pause inside the room turned into a full-scale internet debate. But then, a second twist appeared. Because a different video angle surfaced online later that night. This one showed something most viewers hadn't noticed in the first clip. Standing near the edge of the stage was a staff member wearing a purple jacket. At the exact moment Meghan stepped forward, the staff member reportedly moved slightly closer, as if preparing to guide her away or redirect the moment. But Meghan didn't move. She stayed beside Harry, still waiting. That detail instantly sparked another wave of speculation. Was the moment unplanned? Had she walked on stage earlier than scheduled? Or had something happened between them that viewers were now witnessing in real time? Within hours, the topic began trending again on X. Some fans rushed to defend the couple. One widely shared comment read, "People are reaching. Harry was in the middle of a speech. Of course he didn't stop." Another supporter posted, "This is what happens when the internet overanalyzes normal human interaction." But critics saw something very different. A viral thread that gained thousands of likes claimed, "Watch Harry's body language that he knew she was there. He just chose not to react." Even a few celebrity commentators quietly joined the conversation. One entertainment blogger posted, "It's only a few seconds, but it's the kind of moment cameras rarely catch." By the next morning, entertainment outlets began reporting on the viral clip, carefully describing it as an awkward stage moment. But the internet had already taken the story much further. Fans argued. Critics dissected every frame. And millions of viewers replayed those silent seconds again and again, trying to decide what they had really seen. Was it just an innocent misunderstanding? Or something more revealing? Because according to several guests who attended the event, the moment on stage wasn't actually the only strange thing that happened that night. And when their stories started appearing online, the entire narrative shifted again. As the online debate kept growing, many people assumed the story had already reached its peak. After all, the viral clip had been replayed millions of times. Viewers had analyzed every frame, every gesture, every second of silence between Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. But according to several guests who were actually inside the room that night, the most interesting part of the story didn't happen on stage. It happened after the speech ended. Once Harry stepped away from the podium, the event shifted into its networking portion. Guests stood up from their tables, conversations began filling the hall, and people started moving around the room. At first, everything seemed normal again. Harry walked through the crowd, greeting guests, shaking hands, and thanking donors for attending. Several attendees later described him as relaxed and engaged, speaking comfortably with people near the front tables. But that's when some guests noticed something that didn't quite match the usual dynamic people expect when the couple attends events together. According to two attendees who later shared their observations online, Meghan remained seated near the side of the room for a noticeable amount of time while the networking conversations were happening. Now, to be clear, nothing dramatic happened. There were no raised voices, no confrontation, no scene, but the contrast caught attention. One guest wrote in a comment that quickly spread across discussion threads, "It wasn't tense, it just felt different from what people usually see when they are together at events." Another attendee added something that sparked even more curiosity online. "The stage moment felt awkward. But what people didn't see is that afterward they spent most of the evening in separate parts of the room." That single comment quickly gained traction. Because now the internet wasn't just debating the few seconds on stage anymore. People were asking an entirely new question. Was the viral moment simply a small misunderstanding, or had it been a brief glimpse of something the public almost never gets to see? Within hours, speculation exploded again across X and other platforms. Some viewers insisted the entire situation was being exaggerated. Others argued the opposite. They believed the stage moment, the quiet pause, and the unusual atmosphere afterward might all be connected. And just when the discussion seemed to settle into two opposing sides, another unexpected detail quietly began circulating among online forums. According to one person who claimed to work with the event organizers, there may be another camera angle of the moment that hasn't been widely shared yet. Not from the audience, not from a phone recording, but from one of the official cameras positioned near the stage lights. If that footage actually exists, and if it ever appears online, it could show the interaction from a completely different perspective. Maybe confirming that the moment was harmless, or possibly revealing something viewers missed entirely. For now, that footage hasn't surfaced. But the possibility alone has already reignited curiosity across social media. Because sometimes the smallest moments, the quiet pauses that last only a few seconds, end up telling the biggest stories. And if another clip from that night eventually appears online, it might completely change how people understand what really happened during those strange, silent seconds on stage between Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. Until then, the debate continues. And the internet is still watching. And now the question everyone online seems to be arguing about isn't just what happened on that stage. It's what it actually meant. Because those few seconds between Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have now been replayed millions of times across the internet. People slowed the footage down. They zoomed in on facial expressions. They analyzed the body language frame by frame. Some viewers are convinced the moment reveals absolutely nothing, just a speaker continuing a speech while someone approached the stage. But others believe those quiet seconds showed something far more interesting. A hesitation, a missed cue, maybe even a rare unscripted glimpse into the dynamic between one of the world's most talked about couples. So now we want to hear from you. When you watched that moment, what did you see? Did the Duke of Sussex simply stay focused on finishing his speech? Or did the Duchess of Sussex step into a moment that wasn't meant to happen yet? Was it an innocent misunderstanding on a crowded stage, or one of those strange unscripted moments that cameras accidentally capture? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Because sometimes the sharpest observations come from viewers who notice details everyone else misses. And if you spotted something unusual in the clip, something people haven't talked about yet, this is your chance to point it out. Also, if this story caught your attention, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next update. Because if that rumored second camera angle ever appears, it could completely change how this entire moment is understood. And trust me, when it comes to moments like this, the internet is rarely finished with the story.